Thank you very much, Dr. Shajid Kudiat, for inviting me on this 236th webinar from your association. And so today, as everybody is clear, that the topic is the introduction for those who doesn't know much about Sehgal method. So the first of all, this method was founded by Dr. M.L. Sehgal in 1978. He started to apply mind rubrics. So I would say that he was the first who came across, who started the idea of applying the mind rubric and understanding the mind rubric from Kent repertory. So let me start my journey now. So I would say that, like we know, everybody knows that we have kingdoms in homeopathy, like plant kingdom, animal kingdom, mineral kingdoms. So I would say that today I'm introducing, who doesn't know about, is the kingdom of mind. And it's a Sehgal method. And it's a holistic, simple, and practical approach in homeopathy. Now, what we do in Sehgal method, which is different than other methods of practicing in homeopathy. In this difficult time, when there is a pandemic, so many patients are around us who are calling for help, or practically we are helping many patients, I believe it. All of you are busy or having the calls, daily call from your relatives or from your patients who have already been suffering from coronavirus, or they have fear of they may suffer from coronavirus. So the situation is completely different now than in the previous days when there was no pandemic. We were doing practice for other cases. Now we have plenty of cases we have to handle with corona crisis. So it means that we have to switch over our minds to how to help in this pandemic. How shall we help them? So we have tools in homeopathy. The one tool is Materia Medica, and the another is repertory. So it depends upon how much skill you have. For example, some doctors, maybe they prefer to practice with Materia Medica, or some maybe with the repertory, or some maybe together, clubbing Materia Medica, modalities, or repertory together, or miasm, or generalities, whatever they have learned, they must be trying to help the patient. Now, Sehgal method approach is quite different than other approaches in this way that we are understanding the patient through their sentiments and sensitivity. So there are two parts to understand the patient by Sehgal method. One is sensitivity and other is sentimental. Now, what we believe that when a patient is coming to, when we are dealing with the patient through Sehgal method, the one thing which we take care is that the approach of the patient. For example, now in this pandemic, so I mean that how beautifully we can use our mind section of the repertory quickly, without wasting the time, and just listen few words from the patient, and we reach to the rubric and prescribe the remedy. So as said, there could be another way of prescribing for coronavirus, like taking all the physical symptoms presented by a patient suffering from coronavirus, like cough, fever, or abdominal problems, and or there is a problem in the CT scan. So there are multiple issues the patient is having. But how to understand the patient? Because our thesis in homeopathy, we have to understand a man. We don't have to understand the corona. But how to understand a man in corona, suffering from corona, or who doesn't have corona, or who has just called you because he's fearing that everyone his house, or everyone, or every people, there are many people around the patient or in the family are suffering from coronavirus, how he can prevent himself from getting coronavirus. So the situation in the mind today is completely different, entirely different now. So why our patient is calling us today for homeopathy? So in my clinic, I have been observing. So I'm talking about myself only. I have no idea how other homeopaths are dealing with coronavirus at this time. So when the patient is calling to me, so what I have been noticing that the many patients, they have already been done many things together. Like for example, herbal things, they have started taking kala, they have started taking vitamins, they have started taking all kind of natural products before suffering from coronavirus, and after catching the coronavirus, they have a usual prescription which is given to them by allopathic doctors. So they have started to take the medicine. Now, in this situation, how we can help when a patient calls and tells that I have already done so many things. So what is the patient demand? So what a patient needs from homeopathy? That is the first thing, to understand a man. How to understand a man? From where we start in coronavirus. For example, a patient coming with coronavirus, how we start our journey to understand a man suffering from coronavirus. That is what we need to do, as per Hahnemann, Dr. Hahnemann's rule. Now, to understand a man, the first thing is to why this patient has chosen homeopathy today, why he has come to you. What is it? So sometimes you will hear that the patient says, because I have no other option. Number one, I have no other option. I have tried many things. Now I think that I can go for homeopathy. Number one. So I'm first giving you what is in the mind of the patient when he approaches you, that you have to catch immediately. So I mean that if you miss the first line, the patient tells you, when you ask the patient what has brought the patient to you, as he's suffering from coronavirus and already have done so many things. So the first few things which you could hear from the patient, number one, he has already tried many things and somebody told him that he can go for homeopathy, number one. Or he has heard from somebody that homeopathy can also help in coronavirus, number two. Number three, though I have tried everything, I wish that if you have some medicine in homeopathy, I would like to take it that also. Number three. Number four, doctor, I don't know anything. I'm just asking you if you could help me. With folded hand, he will say, if you could help me, because I'm in a crisis. Number five, I don't want to take allopathic medicines. Because I'm afraid of taking allopathic medicines. Five. Now there are certain people with the coronavirus who haven't done COVID test. Now this is another situation. You have, for example, you ask the patient. A patient reports you after 10 days, after 8 days, after 6 days that I have been suffering from coronavirus, doctor, but you know that I haven't done investigation. Why you have not done investigation after the 6 days you have passed? I'm worried. Worried about what? That it could be coronavirus. So what? Then I have to go to the hospital. Then it's good, because if you are suffering from coronavirus, you must take the treatment. You must go to the doctor. No, I don't want to know about it. So another thing, I don't want to go to the hospital. The people are scared of hospital. People are scared of allopathic medicines. Are the front lines for us to understand a man. Now, what is happening there? For example, you start asking the patient, oh, what are your symptoms? And the patient starts, my symptom is I have a throat stiffness, I have a smell loss, I have a taste loss, I have these kind of symptoms. You probably end up looking at the symptoms of the patient, or you may have, or you already have, in your mind, some kind of medicines which you have already prepared. Okay, if the patient says this, you will give this. Or if the patient says this, I will give this. Or I will add complementary medicine, miasmatic medicine with that. So it means that maybe few of you already biased or prejudiced about what you are going to give the patient before the patient opens the mouth. So I'm not saying I'm against it, but I'm not doing such a practice. So what I do, that I have been getting cases of coronavirus. So the first thing, to understand their mentality. I mean, what is the idea of this patient to visit homeopath? And what is the idea behind the patient to go for homeopathy, because it's not common that every patient is jumping to homeopathy. Okay, I think you will agree with me that out of 10 patients, there are 2 who know you because you are a good doctor, homeopath, or they know you from the long time because you have treated them for a long time for their previous problems. That's why they believe you, they trust you, they have a faith on you. So there are few patients who could call you on the 3rd day, on the 1st day, on the 2nd day, with the belief, with the trust that you will bring me out. For example, a patient calls you on the 3rd day, and then he says, doctor, you know that I was your patient 1 year ago, and that time you treated me very well. I got cured. And this time when I have the symptom of corona, I immediately called you. So what is the reason for him to call you? The reason is because you treated me in the past also. So I have a good faith in you that this time also you will bring me out. So now what is this mentality? What is this point? What is this in the mind of the patient that because you did in the past good for him, and this time also you will good to him? Okay. Now there is this is called a link between the past and the present, because now this patient says, I have heard about you. Now, second line, I have heard about you. You have cured my sister. You have cured my relative. I have got so many patients from coronavirus because they have heard from their relatives that how I'm helping them. So there are patients who are coming to me with just information, only information. They have no idea about me. They have no idea about homeopathy. They just simply know some cases I have been treating and I have some results, then they come to you. This is another mentality of the patient to visit you. And then another mentality of the patient is that I don't want to take allopathic medicines. I'm very afraid of taking allopathic medicine. I have never taken allopathic medicine in my life. So I want that in this time also, I want to take homeopathic medicines. Okay. So now I have given you first point of understanding a man suffering from coronavirus or who hasn't had a symptom of coronavirus at all. Just he has a fear that he's going to suffer from coronavirus. So that is the first line of for me to understand a patient of coronavirus. Then I enter into the state. First thing is that, okay, what kind of rubrics I can make quickly for the patient. For example, you can ask the patient that how hopeful he is that homeopathy can bring him out. Oh, doctor, you know that last time when I came to you, you gave me the medicine. Your medicine was wonderful. I got cured immediately. So this time, the moment it happened, I thought about you. I say, okay, let me visit doctor. And this time also, I'm very positive you are going to cure me. So what the patient is telling you, that he's very positive about it. Because last time you made it cure. And that's how he has grown the faith in you. So this patient is lachesis. Now, how this patient is lachesis? Lachesis patient, when a lachesis patient comes to you, what brings a lachesis patient to you? The faith. First thing which lachesis patient comes to you with faith, because faith is very big thing for lachesis. And once a lachesis patient has a faith in you, he has a positivity in the mind. I'm giving you very different situation of lachesis. Now you must be wondering that the people now around us are negative due to coronavirus. No, not all people are negative about coronavirus. There are many who are positive that they will come out 100%. For example, a patient tells you that, doctor, I'm suffering from coronavirus, and today is the 3rd day or the 1st day or the 5th day, 1st day or 2nd day, and he hasn't done anything. Straight away he came to you because he believes that you will he believes that you will cure him 100%. 100%. Then you can think first the rubric positiveness. Now you see here arsenic. Now arsenic is the remedy everywhere. Everyone is using as a chocolate. I mean that we have started giving arsenic to everyone without knowing whether arsenic is there or not. You see that arsenic is the first remedy in the positiveness. So my idea is that don't get biased with arsenic, that every patient should get arsenic. I would give arsenic to the patient who is positive. Now you will wonder that how a patient says, doctor, I'm positive. I have never heard a patient would come straight away to my clinic and say, doctor, I'm positive. That's why I come to you. So the patient is not using the exact word positiveness, but the patient in his common way, in his common words, uses the language of positiveness. Now, what according to arsenic is the positiveness? Okay, according to the arsenic, the positiveness is that, for example, he doesn't scare too much immediately. He has a, what I like about arsenic. Arsenic is a person who has he's a very composed person. He never shows his bad things or nervousness or restlessness in front of doctor. Never. He would always keep faith. He always has a very good believer that he would come out of the situation. Okay. And for that, he will fight. So arsenic, in this way, you know that what is the quality of arsenic? The arsenic quality is, well says he is when sick. We have a rubric about arsenic. So I'm giving few rubrics about the remedy which has been used in the previous times so much that everyone was taking homeopathy without knowing homeopathy or knowing homeopathy, gulping arsenic. Everyone, like a miracle remedy. So now you see here, well says he is when very sick, arsenic. Arsenic is a positive person. Arsenic doesn't get nervous too quickly. But we only know homeopathy. Arsenic means restless, very restless patient, very thirsty patient. No, this is wrong information. Arsenic will never show his restlessness in front of anybody except home. Arsenic will only becomes restless when he feels that things are not improving as he likes. Okay, that makes arsenic restless. But what is restless? So the rubric is restlessness. Ness means there is a condition when he cannot rest. So when an arsenic patient comes to you, he will tell you that though he is taking medicine, though he is under the treatment of allopathy, though he has taken many things already, but still he is not coming out of the situation. That is a cause of worry for him. But he is positive that he will come out of it. He is positive that he will come out of it no matter. Okay. So now what arsenic asks you? Arsenic will ask you, doctor, I want to come out of this situation as soon as possible because I don't like this situation at all. Okay. So arsenic is positive, making efforts to come out of the situation as soon as possible. Though he had done everything, and still he demands from homeopathy that it should work fast. Why arsenic want fast? So what brings an arsenic patient to you? So this is the rubric which brings arsenic patient to you. Rest things not at proper place. Arsenic is a very useful remedy, but I am afraid to say that it has been used very badly by us, by a professional homeopath. I mean, for the last 1 year, I have given arsenic, but if individual person is arsenic, but I have not given anybody arsenic, even if there is a demand from me, people who are pleading, please give arsenic. No way. I will only give arsenic if the symptom is arsenic. So that is my way of making understand that why arsenic has to be given. Arsenic has to be given when the person is arsenic. And there are people in coronavirus who are arsenic, because there is another thing about arsenic, beautiful things about arsenic. You see, praying. Arsenic is a praying person. He prays to you, doctor, please, can you help me? Because I'm stuck. I want to come out of this situation as soon as possible. Praying. So, for example, a patient says, give me arsenic. Maybe he's arsenic. I don't know. But you will listen the praying. Doctor, I want to say one thing, please. Like if a patient says to you like this, please, doctor, can you give me a medicine which can work quickly? I know homeopathy is slow, but still I want that. If you give me medicine which can, bring me out of the situation tomorrow, very quickly, because he has already taken medicines. Okay. So arsenic is coming to you because things are not coming under control. And he's very, so arsenic gets nervous when, and he cannot rest when things goes out of the crisis. Now, what arsenic is, this is the one thing I'm telling you about rubric. Okay. Only from one thing, that how we can reach to the arsenic. Now, another thing is that what are the patients are going to tell us now? What are the things which are bringing the patient to us? That is the main issue. Now, what is more important for us in the cycle method, to understand each and every word from the repertory and materia medica very precisely. That is the art of cycle method and uniqueness, that whatever rubrics, whatever words we are using under the rubric, we have a we have a very perfect understanding of that word. That is to be needed to practice cycle method. Now, for example, today I brought these 4 rubrics. There are 4 rubrics: hatred, aversion, loathing, disgust. Patient with coronavirus can use these words. Hatred. Hatred feeling comes. So that, have you ever, anyone have a hatred feeling for corona condition? You have it. Maybe you yourself have hatred feeling. I hate this coronavirus now. I mean, if you say to me, I don't have this hatred feeling. For example, if I see the television today, there are patients who are lying in the street, and this situation, you know that what the patient are today having. The patient who are suffering with coronavirus or not suffering with coronavirus, who have lost their jobs, who are under tremendous depression, who are tremendous stress, like doctors, they are having the first word hatred towards the hatred situation. They hate this situation. For example, it's very common for a person to say, I hate him. I hate this situation. I don't want this situation anymore. I want that it should go away. I don't want to live with this. Now, what is this word? I don't want this situation. I want coronavirus to go away. I want, for example, a patient who is suffering from coronavirus, he calls you and say, doctor, give me something. I want that it should go away from my life. I want to get rid of it. I want to get rid of it. So you must be wondering what kind of rubric we can use. Okay. So the first thing we can use is that hatred, and another rubric is mood repulsive. There are 39 medicines. Again, you see arsenic is there. Mood repulsive. I'm not targeting arsenic, but I'm just saying that the arsenic has been used or was used so much blindly. If we have studied arsenic properly, we would have saved more people by their immunity and Simlimum medicine. But I think we have not cared about Simlimum at all and just gave the remedy blindly. So I'm not hurting anybody's sentiment, but I'm just saying that you see that arsenic has been in the many rubrics, but if used properly. Anyway, what is mood repulsive? I don't want to have it in my life anymore. I want that it should go away from our life. For example, a patient who is not suffering from coronavirus at all, no symptoms, but he is depressed. He's totally depressed. He says, I want that this should go from our life because, doctor, I'm staying at home. For the last 1 year, I haven't moved. I'm staying at home. Nothing. I'm doing nothing, just staying at home, only working on the computer. I wish a good life. I wanted to go to shopping mall, watching movie. I want the same life as I was living. Now, what this patient is saying? This patient is saying, and you can use this rubric very frequently. My favorite rubric. for this situation. Delusion as if seized. Very good rubric for this situation. Everybody feels we are seized. We have no power to go out because Corona is binding us inside. They cannot break the rules. They are breaking the rules, but they cannot break the rules. And there are people, you know, who are cursing the God for giving such a situation. For example, if you ask a patient, if you tell the patient, oh, it's a matter of some days, then the life will be better. One day, the God will help you. Your God will help you. Don't worry about it. And the patient immediately aggressively respond, hell with the God. Your God can help me? I'm dying in the house. I don't know what to do. Then you can think of the remedy, Cantheris. Cantheris is the remedy with the blasphemy. He is against the God. Now you know Cantheris, but you never know that Cantheris is the one who never believes the God. Only remedy who never believes the God. Okay. Now there could be another patient. They are not doing investigation. They are staying with coronavirus with the delusion that they have seized now. They cannot go out. Now what to do? But when you ask them, okay, have a coronavirus test. No, I don't want to go for coronavirus test. So we have hyoscyamus, light shuns. So you can quickly prescribe the remedies. Phosphorus. Phosphorus is the one who likes openness, who likes light. Who likes light. And he feels freezed. He likes to, phosphorus is very ambitious person. He feels that his all ambitious got killed. You can prescribe phosphorus. So I mean that just concentrate on the first line of the patient, what he's telling you. For example, and then you just ask the patient, what do you think about this situation you are suffering with coronavirus? What is coming to your mind? Doctor, I'm feeling that as if my life has got stuck in one day, one room. I'm in one room. I mean that now I'm not going out even. Okay. So this rubric is very favorable. Delusion seized as if. So what is the next situation is? Now the situation is coming hatred. Now you must be wondering then how hatred is coming. It's not about that the people are talking about coronavirus in general, but there could be other situations which have come in the life of the people that they start to hate each other. People are starting to hate each other because they are living together, like husband and wife. They have never seen together. They never stayed together because husband was working. Now everybody is working from home. So the situation has come that they hate this situation. So what is the first thing is that what is the meaning of hatred? There are four words: hatred, aversion, loathing, and disgust. So please think of it that if in your practice you ever have used these words separately and properly and knowing the meaning of them in the patient's version, not by dictionary meaning, how a patient is going to say, how a patient is going to differentiate between hatred, aversion, loathing, and disgust. Our patient has no idea. He would say, yes, I have aversion. And we all homeopaths, when the patient says aversion, we only know one word, aversion. And what we do, a patient says, I don't like coffee, aversion to coffee. I don't like water, aversion to water. That's all. We never understand what is aversion and whether we have to use this word or not to use this word. But the moment the patient says, I don't like coffee, it's like that you have committed a crime. Because you don't like coffee, so I have a rubric, aversion to coffee, you must take the medicine. It is his choice. If he doesn't like coffee, okay, it is his choice. Why should I put the rubric? So I have to understand the man, why he doesn't like the coffee, why he hates coffee, why he can't tolerate the smell of the coffee. If a patient says, I can't tolerate the smell of the coffee and my headache starts, aggravation by coffee. I mean, we don't choose another word, aggravation, amelioration. Aversion, 3 words in homeopathy. Aversion, emulation, aggravation. Finish. We are finished with the words. But instead of that, we must understand, okay, so what is hatred? Hatred means utter rejection. In hatred, we will find that every idea or the sight of a person or a thing, etc., leads on to its utter rejection in one's mind. So hatred is just like a rejection. I hate corona. I don't like to suffer from corona, doctor. I mean, the word corona, he hates the word corona. He doesn't hate with the patients. He doesn't hate. He hates the idea of getting sick. Doctor, you know, I don't like to be sick. I hate to be sick. I mean, you heard about this word, I hate to be sick, but you never understand hate means what? Why the patient has to have a hate? For example, a patient says, I hate my brother. I hate my friend. So we must understand this mentality of the patient or the mental state of the patient. Why you hate your brother? I don't like my brother. Why you don't like your brother? What he has done to you? Because he always teases me. So why to hate your brother if he teases you? You don't have to hate it. But no, the patient in his mind gets sick with the idea of the word hate. Okay, so the what the hate idea is, what the hate is doing, making the patient sick. When a patient is sick with hate and you are not treating the patient with the advantage, with the use of hate word, you never get cured the patient, never. Okay, so the hate means immediately I don't like it. I don't want to talk with him. For example, a patient said, I don't like it. I don't like this problem at all. I don't want to hear. This is hatred. Okay, it is straight no. For example, you say, can I call your mother and ask you a symptom? No, I don't want my mother to talk with you. This is called hatred. So the patient doesn't like the idea, even the idea. I don't like the idea. This is called hatred. So we have 26 medicine by Kent. If you have used, I don't know how many have used this rubric hatred, which is very nice, used by Dr. Kent, by Jahar and other authors. Goining Hassan also used the rubric hatred. So you will see the author's name in front of the medicines who have used the word hatred. So next word is aversion. This is the most common word in homeopathy from the day we born in homeopathy. I mean, the first day we go to the college, we use this word aversion. I mean, that aversion is the word which is, you know, it is a very laughing word in our college days. I mean, every child, it's like every student is talking, oh, you don't like apple? Aversion to apple. You don't like this? Aversion to this. Aversion to this. Aversion to this. Without knowing the meaning of aversion. We started to use the word aversion so frequently in our practice. Maybe you agree with me, maybe not, but I don't have aversion to you. So aversion is a strong desire to avoid because of dislike. Okay, so what was hatred? Rejection. And what is aversion? A strong desire to avoid because of dislike. That's not rejection. Rejection is not aversion. Rejection is hatred. Aversion is dislike. So for example, it should be kept in mind that it was previously a liking that has now been converted into dislike. Now, what is aversion? Aversion is temporary. Okay. Hatred is deep-seated. I hate him from the last 1 year. But the aversion is for a short time. For example, yesterday morning, doctor, yesterday I had milk. Till yesterday, I was eating very well. Till yesterday, I had, proper meal. But today, since I got sick, today, since I have a headache, today, since I have this, I don't want to see, I don't like the same thing which I have been drinking till yesterday. For example, till yesterday, I was loving coffee. I love coffee, doctor, very much. Every day, I must have a coffee. I like the flavor. I mean, in the morning, when I get up, I don't have a flavor of coffee. I can't open my eyes. The coffee is very, very much, I like it very much. But today, I don't know what happened. In the morning, when I got up with my headache, with my corona symptom, since I have a corona problem, I don't like coffee at all. I mean, even if my wife says, can I give you coffee? You like it so much. Not today. Say, how the patient use the word aversion. Not today. Today I'm not well. I don't like coffee today. So its aversion is very mild. I don't like coffee. So for example, a mother says, doctor, my child, he likes chocolate very much. He likes ice cream very much. But today when I offered him, do you like to have chocolate or ice cream? He simply says, no, mother, today I'm not well. I will eat tomorrow. So this is called aversion, but it's a short time. So aversion means a person who liked something in the yesterday, till yesterday, he was liking something, not today, but tomorrow he will like again. So this is called aversion. So for aversion, there is no explanation. Why you don't like to have ice cream today? I don't know. Maybe my throat problem. I don't know. So aversion is, I don't know. Maybe I eat tomorrow. So this is how you understand the gesture of aversion with hatred. Then with the next one. Now, for example, we have a rubric by Kent, aversion to children. Only 2 remedies. How can it possible that somebody, when a person is sick, for example, somebody is suffering from corona, okay, and he tells you that I have aversion to children. Why somebody has aversion to children? With platina and Reference are the 2 remedy. Reference is the remedy because he doesn't like. Why he has aversion suddenly? You know, sometimes what happened? Something which has happened in the past comes to your mind when you are sick. For example, your children have done something bad to you in the past before becoming sick. Now that wound open up. That wounds open up when you become sick. It's not that you never liked your children, but presently you don't like your children because they have told you something 1 year ago very badly. For example, oh father, why you do this? Now that has hurt your ego. Platina is the ego. So maybe something has hurt you in the past, which comes in the present. That's why you have aversion for children. So if you ask the patient, you don't like your children today, does it mean that you will never talk with them in the life? No, doctor. How come? How come I will not talk with my children for whole life? But I don't know. Today I don't like to talk with my children. I don't know why. What happens suddenly? So in aversion, patient has no explanation why he doesn't like something. That is aversion. In hatred, he knows why he doesn't like it. Hatred is more stronger than aversion. He knows the reason. Because of some cheating, because of some envy, because of jealousy. He hates his brother because of jealousy. Because my mother always loves him. That's why I hate my brother. So hatred has a reason, aversion has no reason. Then loathing. This is another thing which is coming now. There are patients who are seriously ill. So we can use loathing for them who are seriously ill. The dislike is actually the loss of interest in anything, say life. Now we can use the word loathing for those patients who are paralytic, who are suffering from coronavirus in the hospital. They are in the last stages. They are suffering. They are on the ventilator, or they may be in the stage that nobody can help them. So in this stage, they don't want to stay in the life. I want to die, doctor. I don't want to live anymore. This may be due to disappointment. Doctor, you know that now what I wish. So what is loathing? Loathing is a wish. Doctor, now you know I have a wish, very strong wish. I pray the God. God, take me. I don't want to live. See, everywhere people are dying. No treatment. Everybody is dying. I don't want to live anymore, doctor. I have enough. Loathing. So someone says, what is left to live for now? So this line is very important for loathing. What is left to live for now? So it's not that the patient is totally depressed. Doctor, I have done many things. Now I'm 87. Now I'm 90s. I'm in 90s now, doctor. What for I should live now? You know, my son, they have married. daughters have settled down. Now everybody is busy. Nobody takes care of me. They just call me. Hello, mommy. How are you? What is this life, doctor? My husband has died. I don't want to go to the hospital at this stage. So I have lived so much. So loathing is you have already lived so much. Now you don't want to live anymore. This is called loathing. So you can say, oh, I have heard this, but I was using wrong word. I never know this is loathing. So how can you cure a patient when you don't know the exact meaning of the word? If you use the wrong meaning, you give the wrong medicine, and then you are making an error, which is a sin. You can't afford to give a patient a wrong medicine because you are using a wrong word, meaning of a word very wrongly. The next word. So now you see in loathing, we have 41 medicines. You will wonder that hatred has, aversion has no, aversion is only limited. There is no big rubric for aversion. Aversion has so limit, very limited. But you see the loathing, we have 41 medicines. Okay, now you see here, we don't have arsenic. So don't give arsenic to a patient who says I'm loathing. So listen, oh, I want to give arsenic. If you have lived your life properly, if you want to go away from this life, no doctor, I want to get better. So no arsenic. You can't give arsenic to the patient who has no loathing. But you can give belladonna. You can give aconite. You can give calcareous. You can give cantharis. You can give pulsatilla. You can give platina. Because they have lived their life. They have sentimental. They are the people who are sentimental. Emotionally. For example, you visit an old person, okay? Old person, your relative, 85-year-old, and you ask the lady or a man, so auntie, uncle, grandfather, how are you? What to do, doc? What to live for? I have lived so much. Now I only pray to the God, take me now. Why you want to go away? Enjoy the life. What to enjoy in this life now? I'm 90 now. What to enjoy? So already for this patient, life is finished. But can we change this mentality of the patient? Yes, we can. We can do it. How we can do it? You have to ask the reason for the patient to be loathing. Why you have such a situation? Why you speak like this? You have to live. Till you live, you should live happily. Enjoy. But what for enjoy? I can't eat ice cream. I can't drink coffee. I can't enjoy my thing. I can't go to cinema. I'm burdened on the people I'm burdened on them. Who says you are burdened? Well, I can't move. I'm paralytic, lying in the bed like this. What to do with this life? Enough. But still the person is alive. This is our duty to give him life. Even he wants to die, but we cannot let the patient die because we have weapon. Let us use it. Let us find a remedy for loathing for this old man. At least he can laugh. At least he can be positive. Maybe this positivity can give him some life. Are you getting my point? Maybe not, or maybe yes. I don't know. So next, disgust. Now the people is that as a doctor, oh, I don't want to listen. Another call now. Another corona patient. Another this. We are so much information that we are fed up listening the news. We switch off the TVs now. I don't want to hear the news now anymore. Let's watch TV. Let's watch movies. Let's watch romantic songs. It's enough information. So what is disgust? Enough. When a patient says, doctor, it is enough. I don't want to take any medicine now. Let me die. This is called disgust feeling. So what is disgust? A strong disliking. It is an elder brother. Elder brother. Disgust is elder brother of aversion. Aversion is a sister. Elder brother is disgust. Okay? So it's a big brother. Disgust. A strong aversion. It has its own sphere of dislike. Not aversion is to certain things which you have been doing for the last few days. you have a habit of, you are a habitual drinker, but today you don't like it. This is aversion. But disgust is that you have enough of the things. So now in this, the liking has reached its optimum. Like there are people who are Buddhism, who have adopted Buddhism, who become priests after the age of 60, who want to go away from their life, like Buddha sitting under the tree, living their empire. They are disgust people because they have enough. They have enough money. They have used the money. They have eaten optimum. So now a patient says, doctor, today I don't want to take any allopathic medicine. I had enough. That's why I thought of taking homeopathic medicine. Because now even if somebody names, if somebody says allopathy, you know that, doctor, in my house, I have bundles of allopathic medicine lying on my bed. The smell of the remedy makes me take them away from my bed. I have thrown all my medicine into the garbage today morning. I don't want to take them. Then you can use the rubric disgust, not aversion. If a patient says, I have thrown all my medicine in the dustbin. Okay, I have told my wife not to talk about this subject anymore, not to bring this medicine in front of me. Then you can use the rubric disgust. So disgust is any further addition. For example, I have, doctor, in my life, I enjoyed everything. Everything I have enjoyed. I have made plenty of money. I have made plenty of things in my life. But today, when I see my bank report, bank statement, I have no interest. I have enough. I lived, enjoyed my life. So, but what are the, if there is a medicine, in disgust, we have 36 medicines. So first thing you have to know that we have rubrics and we can use them very properly. Now in disgust, we have arsenic. And this rubric is again coming from Kent. So Kent has given us 4 different rubrics, which we should use it properly. They are the gems, but we are using them not in a proper way. We are misusing them because we have no idea how the patient is going to speak this word. This is the master work of Dr. Sagar. He showed us this path, that how we can utilize each word properly and how to understand the common language of the patient to interpret into the rubrics. Because this is very hard job. Our patient has no idea how to say disgust and how to make difference between disgust and loathing. He has no idea. I have never heard in my life a patient says loathing. Doctor, I'm suffering from loathing. Give me any medicine from loathing. I don't know how many of you have used this word or have heard about this word loathing. If anybody, let me know. Now, coming to another options, I'm going to take you. Very important part. Because I have 45 minutes. I have given 45 minutes to speak. So I'm giving you quick information. Now you see that we have rubrics like praying. You must apply this rubric for many patients who are coming with you to you coronavirus. They are praying to you. They are praying to God. God, please bring us from this situation. So praying is positive as well as negative. So one kind of praying is I'm praying to the God to keep me healthy, or I'm praying to the God to save me, or I'm praying to the God to kill me, to take away my life. Doctor, every morning I get up, I pray to the God, doctor, God, either you kill me or give me health. I don't want to live on like this. This is also praying. So what is praying? Praying is like a request. Please give me some good medicine which can cure me because I have come to you with a great hope, or sir, my only request you to rid me of this nasty disease early as possible. Now you can see in praying, arsenic. How wonderful remedy we are using. Arsenic is praying. I use this rubric nearly every day. Nearly every day I use this rubric because especially in India, we are habitual of praying. Every morning we get up with praying. Every morning we pray to the God, oh, we are alive. Whenever we go to the office, we pray. Whenever we start our business, we pray. We pray to the God, oh, keep us healthy. Even we passing by the temple, pray. Passing by the mosque, pray. So praying is our life. We are living in this life, but we never know how to use. See, there are million people in India, but there are 20 medicine in praying. So shall we give only this 20 medicine mixture to 130 million people in India? Shall we do like this? Then we can rotate all these 20, make a mixture, give to every house and eat it. So they stop praying. So temples are closed. Mosques are closed. Everything is closed because I don't want to pray now because my praying is gone. So what we have to understand, praying is not a problem. Okay. Praying could be habitual. Praying could be prejudices which are coming from my family. Praying is just because my father, my mother prays, so I pray. So sometimes praying has no meaning. Praying has nothing to do with religion. Nothing to do with religion. Religion is a separate issue and praying is a separate issue. You start, for example, you ask the patient, do you pray? Yes, I pray. How in your life you learn pray? From where you learn praying? From my father. So why you pray? Because my father prays. But why you pray? Because I think it's a good thing. So sometimes the patient doesn't know why he prays. Why he pray to the God? If you ask simple question to yourself in the morning, if you pray, why do you pray? For the long life, for the family life, there could be multiple reasons for you to pray the God. Now, when we are dealing with a patient, it is a separate issue. When you become a patient, so these 20 people, these 20 patients, they perhaps were not praying in their normal life. They have no liking for God. They have no liking to go to temple. They never pray to the God so religiously, so faithfully, so trustfully. Okay, but just after becoming the C, just after becoming the patient, it becomes like a food for them. So praying becomes a food for a patient. Food for a patient after he becomes sick. Doctor, till yesterday, I was not praying to the God. I was going to the temple with my mother, but with no faith. I never understood why people pray the God. I never, had understanding why people go to the temple. For me, it was a waste of time. So this was the language of the patient before becoming sick. After becoming sick, he started loving the God. He started praying 5 times. Oh God, save me. Oh God, save me. I don't want to die. I want to live. Oh, it's too much. So what is praying? The praying becomes a weapon. So a patient is using the praying as a weapon to come out of the crisis. So praying is a medicine for a patient. So praying is not a mere praying, simple praying. Praying means the intention is the God will help. For example, a patient says to me, for the last 6 months, I'm sick and every day I pray to the God. So I asked the patient, from last 6 months, you have been praying to the God, still you are sick. Why the God is not listening to you? What is wrong with you that God is not listening to you? Maybe, doctor, I have committed some sin in my past life. No, this is a very common language the patients are using. Maybe I have committed some crime in the past life. Very common language. Doctor, I'm suffering from corona so badly. I see other people, they are not suffering so badly by corona. Or I haven't seen people suffering from psoriasis. I have seen many people suffering from this disease, from diabetes, from this. But I haven't seen so many people suffering so badly like me. And the reason behind, I think, doctor, I have committed a crime in the past life. So we have a rubric which we can use very nicely for such a patient with coronavirus. delusion as if he had committed a crime. This is the very common rubrics I'm giving you. And committed a crime means, I don't know, doctor, how, but maybe I have committed a crime. I haven't done it purposely, but maybe in the past something has happened that he has committed a crime. This rubric is very wonderful rubric. Delusion, he has committed a crime. That's why he's suffering from coronavirus. That's why he has. So what the patient forgets, that there are many patients who are suffering like him, but he doesn't want to understand this. He feels that the God has been punishing him. It is a punishment from the God, because maybe I have committed a crime in the past. So every day in the morning, I visit a temple. I pray to the God, please forgive me. Please forgive me for my past, whatever I have done. I will not do it again. Now you see, you can club the rubrics very quickly. Praying and committed to crime. So what remedy can come? Delusion as if committed to crime and praying. Let's see how many rubrics are together. We have 3 remedies here: veratrum, alumina, and arsenic. Only 3 remedies. Your job is so quick. If you know there are only 3 remedies who pray to the God because they have committed a crime, you can go for veratrum, you can go for alumina, and you can go for arsenic. Simple. There is no other remedy in this category. How beautifully you can treat the patient so quickly if you know 2 rubrics the patient is giving you. You know, on the golden plate, this is my rubrics, doctor, take it. But we don't take it because we want to ask plenty of questions. We want to have 100 questions from him. We want to make him sick by questioning. So you show me your tongue, show me your nose. If your coryza is thin or thick, if it is yellow or red, if your urine is blue or red, if it is this or that, he gets so much confused that, for example, a patient is sick, very sick, and you are asking if your urine is white or yellow. He says, I'm collapsing. How can I see my urine is white or yellow? What is this nonsense? So you can simply ask the patient what you feel inside with this sickness. So a patient is always very close to their feeling than close to the urination. They know how to express their feeling. So if you ask the patient, if you have a, how's your urination? Oh, doctor, burning. I have a burning sensation. Now, burning like what? Burning like a fire, or burning like charcoal, or burning like what? So patient can't explain you. But if you ask a feeling of a patient, how you feel today? I feel, doctor, very depressed. I don't want to live. He gives you this feeling very correctly. So feelings are very near to the person. Feelings are very near to understand a man. Feelings are very near to a patient. So if you correctly understand the feeling of a patient in the one language, the first line is the feeling of a patient. So if you ask a patient, what has brought to you to homeopathy? Why you think homeopathy can help you in corona? How could you visit? How could you think of visiting with corona to homeopathy? So there could be the patient who say, because I'm already your patient. I was your patient. My mother was your patient. My family member was your patient. Somebody recommended me to you. So there could be individual reason for you. So individuality is very important in homeopathy, as per Dr. Honeyman, plus understanding of the man, which we always forget. The understanding of the man starts from where? So I try to give you the opening of understanding of the man, how to open the gates for understanding the man. Otherwise, you are confused from where to understand the man, from urine, from stool, from abdomen, from tongue, from nose, from hair, from chest, from lungs, from kidney. How do you understand a man? If a patient is coming to you with a CT scan or HRS-CT, that his lungs are collapsing, are we going to understand a man from his collapsed lungs, or we try to understand a man from his feeling? So feelings are more correctly and mental state are more correct. This is what I feel. So I think I have taken too much time already. So I don't know, maybe the organizer hate me or disgust with me that why you have used so much time. I told you to have 45 minutes, but I think in my speech, I'm so much involved that I forget this rules and regulation of 45 minutes. So I
Don't
back
don't
to the
worry. Okay.
organizer.